Hello Internet, welcome to this Photoshop class. This is Introduction to Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and in this class we're just going to introduce ourselves to the interface of Adobe Photoshop. I'm going to do a very simple design just to show us how some of the tools work and how to use Photoshop at a very basic level. It also show us how a typical Photoshop workflow is done. Okay, so now when you start your Photoshop, it won't look like this. You won't have the layer panel on the left and properties on the right. It's gonna look like this. Essentials, default, yeah, hold on. Okay, I think already, let's just reset essentials. Okay, so yes, when you're opening your Photoshop for the first time, this is what your interface is gonna look like. But we can always rearrange the interface and save it as a new workspace, and every time you open Photoshop it's going to look like this. So quickly, let's run through it. On top here we have this Photoshop logo there, just to let you know that you are using Photoshop right now. Then we have the menu, items, file, edit, you can say, and we have all of this. Each menu item to control specific things. Here we have a column of toolbars. A column of tools called the toolbar. This is called the toolbar. You can have it this way, two columns, or just collapse it and leave it in a single column, which is my preferred way to use it, really. Alright, I've moved it, but then we have layers, panels. Here I have my property panel here and other panels, but property panel from Photoshop CC 2018 and above, the property panel has become the most important panel after the layer panel. Everything you want to do that you would need to stack several panels for before Photoshop 2018, you no longer need that. Just the property panel and your layers, panels, and you're good. You can use almost anything you want to do in Photoshop now. So we have tools there, but then I'm not just gonna tell us this tool is for this and that tool is for that. So let's just create a new Photoshop project in Disney, and that will show you how where these tools are and how some of these tools are used. So quickly, to create a Photoshop project, come to File, New, click on New, or just simply on your keyboard hold Control and hold the N key. So you get this. Let's come to Print. Let's select A4. I'm in Africa, so A4 is the standard here, and our A4 is slightly different than the American A4. So let's leave everything the same and create. So now we have this. We have in our layer panel is populated with this default background layer that's locked. In the center here we have a canvas, and on the right here I have put my property panel, and right here you can see that our canvas is 2480 pixels by 3508 pixels. We are in RGB color mode, but we can as well change that to CMYK, but for the purpose of what we're doing, we're just gonna leave it at RGB. We can bring up our rulers by selecting this. We can put a grid on there by doing that, and we can, instead of working with a default white background, we can make that transparent by doing that. But I'm not going to do the transparency part, and for now I'm just going to remove the grid. Okay, so down here, I think we're good for now. So basically, when you find yourself in any creative application, design application, one of the first things you want to be able to do is create basic shapes, because shapes are one of the elements of design after all. So one of the first things you want to be able to do is create basic shapes, and afterwards you want to be able to use put some form of typography onto your canvas, and maybe afterwards you want to be able to add image. And basically these three things combined, you in a very good way, you already have a good artwork. So you can see when you have an image, a few basic shapes which could form the bulk of your design, or could just act as additional elements or design elements, and could act as additional interest, or could just act as your design motifs. So without further ado, we're going to start our design by coming here to here. Let's look at this. It says rectangle tools. But the thing about Photoshop is every tool that has this little icon next to it at the bottom right, that tool is just saying there are more tools there. Here is a family of tools accessed by key U, the U key on your keyboard. This family of tools together are called shape tools. So right now we can do a rectangle. So now we have the rectangle tool selected. Notice what happens here. Here's this I think this is called a status bar also. So from here we can change a few things. We can change the fill with which the default fill with which our rectangle will be filled. So we can change the fill of our rectangle. We can choose to either add a stroke to that rectangle or not. Right now this sign we have here shows that there's no stroke. So let's select a color and let that be the fill of our rectangle. So we're using this blue. So now we'll draw our rectangle. You can draw a rectangle to any form you want, but if you want a square, hold shift on your keyboard and then that will give you a square. But right now we don't want a square anyway, so that's fine. Let's just do a rectangle. So there, fantastic. Let's use another shape from that family. Let's use the ellipse tool, and this time let's change the color to something complementary. So we're gonna go to the red region, somewhere between purple and red or so. Sorry, what we did was change the properties there. No. Okay. Okay. So for before the latest for Adobe Photoshop CC, before 2018 above, when you take a shape tool and you draw on your canvas, and you pick another shape tool and you draw, both tools will draw on separate layers. They will create separate layers for you. Notice how we have this rectangle layer here. So both tools were supposed to create separate layers for you, but from 2018 upward, if you have a shape tool and you don't deselect that layer before using another shape tool, all of the shape tool will be drawn on the same layer and will form one compound, one layer of different compound elements. So right now we're just going to click away so that we make sure no layer is selected here. Then we press U on our keyboard. Here we're going to select that color we've been trying to use, and now this time around we want a perfect ellipse, right? A perfect circle. So we're going to hold Shift on our keyboard and draw that out. And I think the color is too desaturated, so let's give it something with more saturation. Alright, let's just make it warm. Finally, so there's a quick introduction to. So finally, let's put a custom shape to. Let's put a custom shape. Before now, you just get all the custom shape here, but now it's all grouped. Wild animals, boats. That must be something. Flowers. Okay, let's just pick this. And again, let's deselect that ellipse layer. Let's choose another color here, and somewhere in the region of leaf green. That's not very leaf green, but that's fine. Let's just use that. Let's just complete our ancient Chinese graphic design, graphic work. Okay, so this is looking, yeah, it's looking all Chinese graphic work. So I said we're going to draw a few shapes, which is the one of the basic elements of design, and now we're going to add some typography to our work. The way to do that is to come to this symbol here, T, that looks like a T, and that is the type tool. We select that. Yeah, and we don't have to bother about having our type combined with this layer. It's gonna give us a different layer, but we can come here and just change the size, and let's choose robot to slab, I think. Yeah, just something to diverge it away from the old Chinese look. Let's get a robot of slab on there and just say let's just write the word "op." I don't know what connection that is. I'm not saying that all of these arrangements in any way symbolizes "op." No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just what looks good to me right now. Yeah. Okay. Maybe make that one of these colors. Yeah. Let's make that color, and let's add a different but similar type. Let's use a different but similar type to you know what, let's use a type from the same family. Let's go ahead and do that. Change that size to 18. We'll probably reduce it later. Okay, Roboto again. This time I want us to choose 10 and just save. I just made that up, so I didn't look that up from anywhere. So so it's fine if you think that is all cheesy and everything. It's fine. Okay, so 10 is looking a little too thin for my liking, so I'm gonna never use regular. So I'm gonna use this one and try to maintain the spacing. Yeah, the anything else I'd like to do, maybe instead of having them dead center, how about shift it to the right, and that way we'll direct the viewer's eyes. Now I just select everything. That was Ctrl T. The way I selected everything was to hold shift, select the first layer I want to do, but since I'm selecting everything across, I hold shift and just select the top layer, bottom layer, and then select the top layer. That's the way to do. Then the way to select everything together, the way I did before transforming it, is to go to edit, free transform, and that's what's going to give you that. And the way I move this to hold shift and just drag from, sorry, I didn't hold shift actually, but you need to hold shift if you're working with anything less than 2019. Yeah, there we go. So I just want to move it down a little bit this way and maybe back to this direction, since as Westerners we read from left to right. But again, because we do it from left to right, let's direct our eyes from left to right and just leave it that way. Okay, so this way is looking all Asian, right? That's fine. We may decide to give, you know what, let's leave this video at this point. So this is it. This is our introduction to Photoshop. In this class we've been introduced to the look of Photoshop and a few tools. We looked at shape tool and type tool, which is good. We also look at our layers, how to select all of our layers. In a situation where you need to select a layer and skip another one to select another one, you know, when you need to select specific layers who do not necessarily after the other in terms of how they are ordered on this layer panel. You just need to hold Control, select one and go to the next one and go to the next one, and just keep on going that way. And Okay, there we go. Thank you for watching this class. Join me in the next class where I begin to go into other areas of Photoshop, and still to come we'll be looking at some advanced things, advanced workings in Photoshop. Thank you.